Hello everybody, GL1 here, and I wanted to do a show on mech suits, but as I was going through my collection, I started to see that I had a lot of mech type suits. I mean, really a lot, way more than I had thought about, and I don't think I can put them all in one show. But I came across this toy, and good luck trying to find a picture of this online. This is not all that it appears to be. This is a 2000 Tiger Electronics MechWarrior 2, I think, toy, and it has got Microsoft on it. And the reason for that is it is a handheld video game. And it works, except unfortunately the sound stopped working. So there's your speaker down there. I'm not going to take this apart and try to fix that. But let me show you that it works. So here's your on button, and then this is your throttle to move forward and reverse, and then you have your buttons that fire. Now, what it has is these are your weapons, and they unplug, and you can exchange them for different weapons. So this one fits on this side. So you got like, oh, actually, and you can turn them around. So they're even more. That's right. So you see it fits like that, and it has those there, but then you can turn it around and put it on this side, and now it fires only missiles. Okay, but you have a limited number of missiles that it's going to fire. So then you can, let's see, this one you can put on this way, and it's going to fire those 5 missile connections there, and then you can change the arms as well. So you can put this one on, and then that also can turn around to the other side, so you can take this out, and then you see you have different guns on each side, and then they fit in only one way because it has this slotting right here. Okay, so you see this one has some kind of pulse laser on that side and some kind of big laser on the other. So if you wanted to have, if your strategy when playing the game, you had sort of your go-to weapons that you thought worked best, you would just flip these around to what you thought would look best. Oh, you see I turned it on, my fingers touched it. And you see, and now you've changed the profile of what weapons are in front. And then, all right, so if we turn it off and then turn it on, restart the game, and then you could fire your weapons. All right, we're starting. And then you see it's firing, and there's like ships going across, and then, you just fire and try to hit things, and then eventually some other dudes start walking across in front of you. And you're it's shooting there and there, and you only have a limited number of ammo, so you got to be cautious about how you use that. And then you have a radar up there, and you see it's firing like both weapons at the same time. Oh, I think I got him there. And then I'm not very good at games, so it probably won't last more than one round here. And then it'll tell me my score. So, I bet I got him on that one. Let's see. There. And we get him. And so see, and as you lose your weapons, you see now I'm down to just 2 weapons. And either by them shooting me or I'm running out of ammo. And let's see, I think the best score I've had since I found this thing. Oh, and it has a picture of my mech up there just showing me which weapon I have left. So I have 1 weapon left. Now I have no weapons left. So that means the game's going to be over very quickly. And I can do nothing. I guess I could move backwards. All right, so it's got me. And all right, I got 380 credits, game over. So anyway, I think that is one of the coolest things ever. Runs on 3 AAA batteries in there. And if you've ever seen that before, good for you. But I haven't. I looked online and I couldn't find it. So, I'm really glad I have that. And then I'm going to show you something else that's really, really strange. And I have no idea what this went to. I've not been able to find an image of it either. All right, now, some of you may have seen the movie Aliens, where Sigourney Weaver gets inside a mech suit that is on the spaceship and starts fighting the alien with it. This looks kind of like that, but it's not. It's much bigger. I put this Marvel character, what's her name? Domino. Okay, so I put that in there. And it's very delicate. So I've had to glue this and put rubber bands on it and everything to keep it together. Let me show you. Let's see. Camera here. All right. And you can see that it has a tail to help it balance and stay up. And then that can move around. And it has, like ball joints that move around. And then, let's see. I put rubber bands, these clear rubber bands on the legs to help it stay together and stand. I've had to glue the joints, this joint I had to glue together. Shoe glue, as usual. You have your grasping hand there. The elbow still works. And then it can move out like that as well. And it's neat because it sort of has like these hydraulic looking pieces that make it look like it has moving hydraulics. And then you can set up any 6-inch action figure in there. And then you have your big clamp. Let's see, yeah, I had to glue that joint. I think it still turns. Well, I'm not going to force it. But you got your big clamp there. And then, that moves. So, yeah, I think I can turn this. Let's see. It has it has a ratchet. That's what I remember. And so you can, grab your enemy. So this would be a gigantic weapon to fight your aliens with. But anyway, so that's a really unusual mech suit. I just love looking at it. I enjoy looking at it throughout the years, just having it on the shelf. And then I have one other thing that you might have seen before, but it's still, I think, unusual. All right, and that's G.I. Joe Armor Bot. So I remember I got this in the 1990s at a Goodwill store, and I don't know, I think I got it for like, $15 or something. Now I've seen it on eBay for $100 with missing parts. So it comes with a lot of missiles, and it has an arm that has like a robotic claw, like a clamp, and then that's spring-loaded, and you push that out, and now you have like your Wolverine claws. This is part of the era when G.I. Joe was making that comeback with the 3.5-inch figures, and it used to make lights and sounds. So this light used to light up. Now, when I first got it, it didn't work. I went in there, I took it apart, I got it working, and then it stopped working again. I know years ago I tried taking it apart and getting it working again, and I couldn't get it. So, but I'm just going to enjoy it the way it is. This is your cabin up here, and it came with an exclusive figure, this guy here, which I'm really glad I still have that. So, his head turns, limited articulation. A lot of times when you get toys that come with a figure that sit in it, they don't give it a lot of articulation. They're like, look, just be glad you have the toy. Don't complain about the figure that doesn't articulate. But, I don't know why they can't go a little further. And then this figure, this is a G.I. Joe figure, right, from, I think, one of the movies, more recent movies. She fits, so it has a back seat. And so she can help him fire his missiles. And then you have your lasers up here. And this goes on pretty easily. It just clamps and then just fits. Let's see. It goes, yeah, there we go. All right. It doesn't stay on easily, though. I'll tell you that. Then over here, this is how you fire your missiles. So you have it spring loaded, and then you pull this lever down, and it just rotates and fires. And you have lots of, other storage for the missiles, which is really cool. And then it even has pegs for other G.I. Joe figures, and you can peg them on there. Now, those pegs are really large for the small 3.5-inch figures. And what happens is the plastic dries out over time, and then you go to take your older figures and try to peg them on, and the plastic, the foot cracks, which happened to me on a figure, so I won't try to do that anymore. If they had used a smaller peg and softer plastic on the figures, then, I think that would have been a better idea. But, see, you have your pretend, all your hydraulics and hoses. And I also put the clear rubber bands on here to help it stay up. It does not stay up very well. It always tends to want to fall over. It just doesn't have good ratcheting in there. And there's your handle, right, to play with it. And it rolls. So, Cobra beware. And then there's your old buttons that for firing. And what's really cool about this too, I think, is that usually the bad guys have the really cool weapons. And for once, the good guys have something that looks like it's pretty much going to blow away all the bad guys. And then you can take the figures and put them in there and grab them. And there's not a whole lot they can do, right, once that happens. So that's ArmorBot. And that's the biggest mech suit that I have. Because technically, it's humanoid in form, right? You have like 2 legs, 2 arms, and people sit in it. And I love robots. I like people. I like space. And so I always thought mech suits were a great way of combining all that together. What's kind of more cool than being able to be a robot, getting into something and just being like a gigantic robot or powerful robot. So I'm going to go get some other mechs and show you those as well. All right, so here are some new mech toys, right? Well, one mech toy, and I have more new ones to show you, and other ones. So, all right, so this is from the Avatar movie, both of these toys here. And this is the amp suit, which falls down easily. All right, comes in this box. And I was able to get this for under $17, which made it way worth it. And as you can see, it has some, mud, paint, color on it. It's been tromping around in the mud. And you have a unique articulation to this toy. This is how your lack of a shoulder and clavicle, it moves along this ratcheted axis here. This like semicircle, which is really neat. And then you have a unique, you can raise your arm up like that, turn it like that, and then you can bend in the elbow, and the wrist turns. Only complaint I have, I think this does not turn, and I don't know. It seems like it's not meant to turn, and I'm afraid to force it. Yeah, I don't think so. But that would be great if that could turn as well. That would make holding the gun on this side a little bit, instead of having to always hold it kind of like at arm's length. It's always holding it out. You can bend it in and then, go like that. And, but it's still, I wish you could have his shoulder lower and then he could rotate his forearm. That would be, an articulation I'd like to have. And then you have the long belt of bullets that connect. You just slide right in there. All right, and these don't come out. And you have, you have some hip articulation, lateral hip articulation. And it's a little, it's stiff because it's new, which is good. Hopefully it stays that way. But you do have some feet that articulate, and the knees bend. They're hard to bend. You really got to give that like a good two-handed grip to turn that. You can also change this hand. You have a scabbard for the knife. You can take that out, and then that would go up in here. Okay, so you can store the knife up in there, and then you can put your finger in here, pry that up. I just put the extra hand in there. Don't want to lose it. And then that hand pulls out, and then you can put the, I guess a backhand smack in there. It kind of be cool if it had knuckles that moved. This original price is about $40. And I like McFarlane toys, but I think it says 22 points of articulation. I think it should have had a few more points of articulation for that amount of money. I know it's big and you're paying for the size, and it turns here too, and that has a ratchet, but I think they could have given it, there was a time where having a hand that at least could go move like that, had some joints, was not such a big deal in terms of cost. Now this figure does not come with this. This goes to the corpse, or the core. The core set, and she fits. So I just figured, well, I'll put her in there. It just gets in there really nicely. And I got Neytiri to show you the comparison in size of your Avatarians, and their size, right? So she'd be, hey, and then she comes with a bow that does not string, and she has a little knife, and she has a couple different hands she can change in there. So I have plans for a story, though, for this figure. So something interesting I want to do with that. Now, this is also an example of how older toys are kind of cooler than newer toys. So I'm going to show you some mech suits from 1993 and show you what they do. If I can get this thing to stand up. And all right, let's start with something simple. So there was a cartoon called Exo Squad, and I have a lot of Exo Squad pieces. And this is the main antagonist for that. Sometimes it has their name. Yeah, Phaeton. Okay, so this is his mech suit, and these are the dudes, the aliens. What they were, they're actually not aliens. I think what they are is they are evolved, genetically enhanced humans, and they're bigger and stronger, and they rebelled against the regular humans, and then, if I remember correctly, there was one of these looking fellas, Masala, that then took on to fight for the good guys. And you know what? I think this is actually Masala and not Phaeton. And they have not just different clothes, but even their faces are different. But you can see this has a lot of articulation. And, it's so that, one, it can move in the mech really well. But this is one of those examples where it was really nice that the articulation of the toy that goes inside is really good as well. And you have this little piece here. So what it is they're supposed to be able to integrate with their neurological system into their mech suit. So that plugs in there, and and then they're supposed to be able to communicate with the suit and have it move along with their thoughts. And it's always been difficult to get that to actually go into the plastic, but so I never use it. But you can see how it just closes up on his legs really nicely, and then he can hold on to his handles, and you can kind of mush them in there. But that's not all it does. So you have a claw hand here, and you push this button here, and then the claw opens. And these were like $10 back then in '93. And then you have a missile here, and push that, and then that's a spring-loaded missile, and that fires. And then you have a spring-loaded missile on top, and then that fires. And then you have extra missiles. These don't fire. You can pretend they fire, or just put them in the spring-loaded one. And then it came with all these little stickers that, like battle damage, that you would put it on, like cracked glass. This is, and it also came with the storyline was that they needed, that folds down, these little energy pieces here that slide out, and this is how you power your mech suit. So you would need, and you know, they really made it not easy to get to, but so you would need this to power your mech suit, and if without it, your suit won't go. And there, and then that goes in there, and now it's powered. And look, it even has like the hydraulics for the Achilles tendon. So they really, you know, the knees bend. You even have lateral hip articulation. You have shoulder articulation. You have the hydraulics in the elbows. I mean, I could say nothing other than this is fantastic. You know, and I know $10 back then, you know, it's a different scale, but detail for detail. I mean, you get a lot more with this toy than that toy, and smaller, and it comes with an action figure. But there's more. Hang on. Okay, so look at this larger one, all right? So, I'll lay this down here. All right, so here's a larger mech suit, okay? And this has those reverse knees, like a dinosaur. You have these laser guns that can move in all directions and then lock in like that. And then this here, this armor piece, this is supposed to be, because they fire missiles at each other, you can fire a missile, hit this, it's spring-loaded, and then it flies off. And then you expose some of the electronics. So, you know, it has two of those. So while you're playing, you can pretend there's battle damage, okay? You can fit two figures in here. Whoops. Okay, so yeah, that one always falls off. All right, you get the figure out here. Now I'm going to show you. Oh, this also, look, this is a screen. So that flips up, and he's got, you know, like a computer screen that he can work with there. Here's your energy source. Of course, you have to have a bigger one because it's a bigger Mac. Okay, and there's your, you know, your neurological connection. A lot like Avatar, right? Where they put that thing in the back of their head, and then they communicate with their world. So this has that. And I want you to see here, these guys look different. So look, their faces are actually different structure. Their cheekbones are different, their foreheads are different. They look like different people. Isn't that cool? So much detail. Now these were made by Playmates Toys, which is the same company that gave you Ninja Turtles. I think Power Rangers too, but definitely Ninja Turtles. So just really, really cool toys, right? And they usually come with a gun. Just come with some kind of gun. I put the guns, you know, sometimes what I do is I take the guns so I don't lose them, and I put them in a little drawer, and then I don't remember where they are. Okay, but there is more to this toy. So it has two buttons here, and it can like make a firing rocket sound, and it lights up here. Now this button in front does a machine gun when it works. It's really hard to push in and get working. Oh, there we go. So that's pretty cool, all right? And then when you push down, so these are spring-loaded missiles. When you push down, they actually have a switch, and they make the sound when they fire. How cool is that, right? And underneath, it has like a wheel, and when it rolls, these little pieces move along with it like it's walking along. So you can move it along. I don't know if it's really hard to get that to visualize to where. Oh, here we go. So if I move it with my finger, you could see see like the toes are moving as if it's walking along, okay? And you got a gun on the back, right? So if you have to protect yourself from the rear, but just check this out. All right, so you have a propeller in there. So that winds up. And what this is, remember, this is 1993. This is a drone concept. So they have surveillance drones. So, you know, you might have to survey the area, right? You push this, and it flies up in the air as a surveillance drone. Yes, one of the coolest toys ever. And, you know, the show I did on magnetic toys has a robot in the end that is really, really cool. So if you haven't caught that show, the last 20 minutes of that show, I know it's a 51-minute show and it seems, you know, like, wow, that's a long time. And it is. But the last 20 minutes is this definitely one of the coolest toys ever, this magnetic robot-based robot. So you can see this moves all around independently. You can move the arm, the gun arm, independently of the legs. So it's, you know, I think it sort of fits the mech criteria because it's kind of like a robot. You know, you have your legs and your arms. You sit in it and you become more powerful. But there's even more. Okay, so here's another Exo Squad toy. All right, big giant mech suit. And this can seat a guy in here. All right, and he has his little computer screen in there. Then, of course, you can put a gunner in here. And then it has this triple missiles here. Now, the way this works is as you slide this across, it fires the missiles. So, let's say if we have it, we'll start it over there, and as we move it across, that's how it fires. You move it across and it triggers the missiles firing. And this comes out as well. So yes, that's really, really cool. You could pretend it got blasted and you lost your, you know, missile firing there. This is your antenna. You have your radar. You have your guns here, right? And then you can have, just like that giant armor bot, you can take your characters and have them standing. They can peg on here and they can shoot this. And then if this stops working, they can carry this with them. They can hold on to it. And you can see it can be just an independent gun that they can carry around as well. But here's the cooler thing about this. It's motorized. So it doesn't walk very well, okay? But it does. It's supposed. There we go. Hey, he's running around. Look at that. There you go. You have your radar. And then, you know, the gun shifts back and forth. So something like this back then probably was about $30. I know that years ago I had a good friend of mine come over. His son was a little boy, and he played with it, and he lost one of the missiles. And I was like, oh, man. You know, I looked and looked and looked for that missile, and then I actually never found it, and that was like 20 years ago. And so I went, and I was like, well, let me see if I can buy another one. And I actually was successful at that. Let me go show you that. So this is the other one, and I think actually, well, the reason I'm showing you both is because this one has all the stickers on it. Okay, so you can see it has like these jet stickers in the back. And, you know, there's the power pack. This is missing the power pack. Basically, I took everything that I could to make a complete mech work. The thing is, though, this doesn't walk. I couldn't get it to power and walk, unfortunately. So that's why I'm not using the one with the stickers. And I don't know, it's a Marsala again. So he gets to, I guess he gets to drive everything. But anyway, so that's what it looks like with the stickers on it. And if I think actually this is my original one, which quit working, and this is the one I bought later, and that one walks. So, but anyway, at least I can, you know, always kind of, when I'm missing pieces, I can, you know, cannibalize one for the other. All right, and let me show you another mech that's really, really cool. Okay, so this is the Rescue Bot mech, and so we can compare that in size to this. Similar, right? Very similar design. This one looks also a lot like the one, it's yellow, it looks like the one Sigourney Weaver was using in Aliens. Now, this is supposed to be the rescue mech, and it came with the female figure. I don't know if they were doing that, I hate to say it, but it's sort of like, oh, the female figure is nurturing, so she needs a mech that is for repairs and helping everybody. I don't know, but anyway, she's a cool figure, and comes with it. And then you have your clamp in here, and you have some sort of. Actually, what this is a welding tool, and it does, I believe, have a weapon here. Let me see if this. Yeah. Oh no, it's the welding. Okay, so when you push down here, it does the welding sound. It's been a while since I've played with this, and then and it doesn't stop. All right, and then this here, this is a piece for. It's got lights, like as if you're repairing the mech, you need to hold it up, and then you can like clamp it, and then you can weld it to repair it. And she does have some guns here. She's sitting in there. And the way this also works, if a missile fires and hits it right here, then this is supposed to be able to fly up and fly off. But see, that comes off. Sometimes it might fall off. So, then there she is sitting in there. And then that moves out of the way. And then she can get up. And again, not the same body as the other figures. She is got a different body type, as she would, being a human, being a lady. So pretty cool. Again, all the details taken care of. Full articulation. All right. And I guess her name is Weston. And then you do have a weapons up here, and it fires like a triple missile and makes a sound when it fires. So that's pretty cool, right? And then these are her lights, so she can look on the battlefield to find, the broken mechs to help out. And then check this out. So this closes up in the back. Okay. So this is the diagnostic station, and that, you got to kind of manipulate everything to, there we go, to get out of the way, right? And then that closes up, and there's your power source. Here's your buttons in the back. Okay. And then that opens up, and then she can, it has tools, say like a sensor, and then a station that she can sit at, and she can integrate into there or any of the other characters. And then she has a tool as well here. Okay, right, so then she can do that, and she can fix things. So she's an engineer, right? And she has a war mech suit. So quite an awesome character to have on the battlefield. Look, you even have the articulation in the forearm. So really, just so well articulated in order to do so many different things. So she can sit at the computer, right, and diagnose things, and then you can have another character that sits in the front. And who might that... Oh, and then, okay, you have your treads on the bottom and little wheels. But who might be the person that is helping her is this guy. TJ Marsh. And this is one of TJ Marsh's mechs. There's many for TJ Marsh. And this one flies. It looks, you can see it has wings and jets. And there he is in there. And this mech has some cool things. So you have a button here that you push back like that. And then you wind that up. But you got to be careful because there's high voltage. And then move that forward. And then I guess that's some sort of high voltage weapon. And then look, you have your double hydraulics in the front. So detailed, right? These come off. These are like your retro rockets, your balancing jets. So you have your jets for flying forward, and then you have your up and down jets on your shins, okay? And then on this, the power pack's missing. And then this one here, if I remember, you turn it. No, oh, you push it. Okay, you push it and then it fires the missile. And then you have your hydraulic. You even have your hydraulic in there. And then these wings can fold down for storage. A little bit of... There we go. Okay, and be careful. You know, like I said, plastic gets brittle when it gets older. So got to be careful with that. So TJ Marsh can come out, and then he can sit, you know, while she's working on the diagnostics. You know, if she's working on this mech, you know, maybe they're welding it, and then he can sit in the front there, right? So that's you know, all these different things you can do with this set, which is really, really neat. And now I'm going to show you my favorite mech. And you know, this is still not all my mech stuff. All right, so this one right here. Okay, let me clear this area here. Again, this is Exo Squad. All right, so these are all the pieces that it comes with. And then you got a couple of guys sitting in there. And you could see, again, they're different. Look at their faces. They're different. Actually, I think that's Phaeton. I think that's the bad guy. And I think this is actually supposed to be one of the antagonist vehicles. But I like it so much. To me, it's always the heroes. So, you know, I think this is actually Masala. They're even different heights. So, but you know, in my world, they all become friends. So the way this works, several ways. So this clamps down, okay, and it has a trigger button here. If it gets hit with a missile, boom, that blasts up. Oh no, we're exposed. It's dangerous. All right, so that closes down. And then it has like your super laser here. It's built like a crab, right? And then you have your clamp here. And then the way that clamps, let's see, there's a, so it snaps open, but you should, no, there's a button, yeah, in the back. See, everything has a button. It's not like you have to move it manually. So you can push it like that and pretend, all right? And then when you push down on it, it has missile launching sound, okay? And you have your rocket launchers here. So you have two rockets here. And when you fire them, it makes it sound. But it'll also make the sound when the rocket's not in there. Okay? And then you have two missiles that snap into here. And look, they even came with, I remember putting little stickers on there. Put that in there. And when you push down on that, it fires both at the same time. And then it makes the sound as if both were firing. There's your power pack, and then you have your buttons. You can make it have the firing sounds without actually having to push on the weapons. And then in the back is what looks like a Predator drone, right? Remember, 1993, so pretty cool, way ahead of its time. So this is supposed to lock in here. It goes this way. It doesn't lock in very well. It falls out all the time. And then you have this piece here, so it's supposed to go down, and somehow that's supposed to kind of snap into place to kind of hold it, and then it sits back here like that. And then, but it falls all the time. So that's why I had it stored inside there. But it's supposed to, like, it flings like that, and then it throws it up in the air, and there goes your drone to go hunt and, you know, hunt down, well, the good guys, I suppose, but, you know, but just a really neat drone. But is it as cool as the one that flies up in the air? That's the question, right? It looks cool, but you have to fly it with your fingers. The other one actually flies, which is really, I think, just really unique. And then you have full articulation. Look at that ball joint. See that ball joint in there? So you can move it all around. And then you got your feet, and you have your You have your hip joints. But it's, I think the way this one would really work mostly is it would just sort of like fly and hover around and then land itself in the area and just wreak havoc by spinning around, grabbing and shooting and, all kinds of things, right? So that's my favorite mech. I think it's very cute because it looks like a crab. And I'm going to compare this. Now, here you go. Of course, here's your avatar mech, right? But we can compare this to something else that's a little more similar. Now, I was not going to get this Halo mech because, well, it was almost $40 originally, and I'm like, ugh, that doesn't look like it's worth it. And I was right. It's not. It's definitely not worth $40. It doesn't light up. It doesn't make any sounds. It's big, and I was surprised because it doesn't look, it folds up. It comes in two parts in the box. So here's your, I guess this is, like a machine gun here, and all your ammo would fit in there. And you have, swivel articulation, and then this can swivel upward, and then it can shoot from a higher position, say like that, or shoot from the lower position. On the box, it was kind of in the lower position, but then you can move that up, and then, all right, and then it can be like that. It doesn't move everywhere. You have to be careful. It doesn't do everything you want. And then you have your dinosaur or chicken legs, with the backward knees, which is probably, you have your knee here, but then you have, your another sort of backward knee there because you have your ankle is here. So if we were going to look at this in terms of biology, right? All right, so here is your thigh, and then this is your knee, and then we can't say that's the ankle because you have an ankle down there, so it actually is an extra joint. So that would probably give it the capability to jump really high. You can kind of like a spring, and it has these rockets here, so it would be able to jump, sort of blast itself up in the air. And there's no, windshield to be vulnerable, so one can only guess that there would be a radar and screen inside with cameras, and so you would sit inside, and your figure sits inside there. So you have a large area for a 6-inch figure or 5-inch figure in there, and this is the figure that it comes with. And you can see it has sort of the same crabbish looking design to that. And then this is your figure, and he's fully articulated. He has the double knees, which is really great. He's got ratcheted ankles, shoulders. He doesn't have the double elbows, but he's certainly got enough. And then he's got the head that swivels. And doesn't look, it has a little bit of a swivel up and down, but mostly just left and right. So, and then he sits inside there. I don't really like all the yellow there. I don't know. Maybe I'll paint that at some point. But anyhow, that's that mech. And, I got this for $16. So that made it, close to worth it. But if you look at what was out for probably around $30 in 1993 with all the missiles that firing and the sounds and the action figures, well, it only came with one. And then you have the stickers. I mean, again, you just get so much, detail, different colored, different kinds of plastics used in different areas. You get so much for the money back then. Your drone is a soft, squishy plastic. This is all hard plastic. Oh, that's right. It even has a joint in there. Yeah, isn't that cool? So I do like this. And one of my shows way back called Hello Halo, I showed all my Halo toys, and I didn't have this then, but what I did have on that show is a Mega Bloks mech of this, which is radio controlled, and it actually will fire missiles and swivel and light up and do sounds, and it came with a couple different of the little Mega Bloks highly articulated Halo figures. So that's really cool. It's actually it's better than this, I mean, it's only as high as his leg. And I'm going to have to save the other mechs for another show because this is already 45 minutes long. And I will show you that mech again on another show to compare. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I definitely enjoyed showing you, and I just love these mechs, and it's fun to show all of them together and compare them for you. So thanks for watching. See you soon.